Well, I mentioned earlier this course is not about creating slides here in PowerPoint. There's plenty of courses on that at LinkedIn Learning. This is about taking existing slides and creating a self-running presentation with some interactivity built in. So we're going to start with this file. You'll find it in the Chapter 1 folder of your exercise files, Leaf and Mortar 0102. Looking down the left-hand side quickly, you can see a number of thumbnails representing, looks like 12 slides. Many of these types of presentations will have a lot more than 12. But for the sake of simplicity and time, we're going to work with these slides, which as you can see, as you move from one thumbnail down to the next, there are actually slides that could be grouped together, like landscape design, for example, is made up of slides 2, 3, and even slide 4 here. When you select it, you can see it talks about color, line, form, texture. As we scroll down a little bit further, you can see there's another group of slides that belong together. Slide 5, 6, and 7 are about water features and garden structures. Jumping to slide 8, you can see that's where hardscaping begins. There's a few slides with regards to that before we get to the contact information on slide 11, and the final slide, just a nice graphic with the address at the end. So for simplicity's sake, and to help us stay organized when working with our self-running presentation, which we're going to build branching into momentarily, you can see it might be helpful to take the related slides and put them in their own section. That way we can focus on one section after another. You'll see what I mean here. When we go to slide 2, for example, click the thumbnail here on the left-hand side, and this is where we're going to start a new section called Landscape Design. So we'll go up to the section drop-down here with the Home tab on the ribbon selected, and the only option at the top is to add a section. So we'll give it a click, and a new section is created with all of the slides down below. And you can see by default it's called Untitled Section. Right here in the dialog, it's highlighted, so we can type right over it to rename it Landscape Design. And when we click Rename or press Enter, we now have a new section called Landscape Design. Now we're going to scroll a little further down, and slide 5. Just click once on the thumbnail for slide 5. You can see it's the only slide selected now. And this is where water features and garden structures begins. That would be a good spot for a new section. So we'll click the section drop down. There are other options now for expanding, collapsing, and removing sections, but we want to add a new section right at the top. Click there, and let's type over water and garden. There we go. When we click rename, we have that new section now created over here on the left-hand side. So we have a couple of sections actually created. And we're ready to create our last section for hardscaping at slide 8. Click there and repeat the process. Section, add section, and we'll type in hardscaping. And enter or click rename. Now, the last couple of slides really don't belong in hardscaping, so we will add one more here by clicking slide 11. We'll go up to section and choose add section one more time, and we'll just call this the end. Type in end, click rename, and now what we have are several sections. You'll notice down the left-hand side, each of the section names has a little triangle next to it. So if we wanted to focus on the water and garden features, we could collapse these sections by clicking those little triangles. And you can see now, it looks like we only have a few slides. We can even collapse the last two labeled end. And now it looks like down the left-hand side, we only have a few to work on. We can focus on this section. When we're done, we can collapse it and go to another section. It's also going to help us when we collapse everything to know what the different sections are in our presentation when we go to build in some branching. So let's go up to slide 1 here. That's our default section now. You can see it's named that by default as soon as we started adding additional sections. It's slide 1, and this is where we're going to begin with adding some branching, where viewers will be able to jump to the different sections as needed. We'll do that next.